The newest Star Wars TV show, The Acolyte, is here, taking place over 100 years before the prequel trilogy, and it might just be the most divisive Star Wars TV show of all time, because some people say it's the worst thing ever created, while others are saying it's the best. But don't worry, I'm here to give you the correct opinion on the best and worst parts of the first two episodes. My biggest problem with the first two episodes of the show is that the writing and dialogue just feel super inconsistent, because a lot of the characters have really well-written dialogue, but others have some terrible lines. There's lots of moments where characters are just telling the audience exactly what's happening in the show, which kind of just takes away any of the complexity of it. One scene that stuck out like a sore thumb to me was this character's Soul. He has one line where it says, "If this gets out, our political enemies can use it against us." Like, I'm sorry, that is not how real people talk. And a lot of the writers and directors of the show have been hyping up, oh, this show has so much political intrigue. Like, just saying the line that our political enemies are going to use something against us does not mean your show has political intrigue. And as I mentioned, there's lots of just inconsistencies with the writing, because May and Osha are literally played by the same person, but some reason everything that Osha says is just an absolute clunker of a line that comes off terribly. And the line delivery just makes it seem like this actress can't even act whatsoever, but when she's playing May, she's incredible and a lot of her dialogue's really good, so I don't know what happened there. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that this show has like a million different writers for 8 episodes. Like, I understand it's not that uncommon in TV to have a bunch of different writers, but when you're having an 8 episode kind of mini series thing, I feel like you should be a little bit more limited to maybe like 2 or 3 writers max. A lot of the positives comes down to individual characters. I feel like they're the strongest part of the show. Like, I really enjoyed Yord's character. I feel like he's super interesting because he's kind of a fraud, and you can tell he's like kind of insecure and not really as good as he thinks he is as a Jedi. But that makes him a complex and kind of interesting character that I can't wait to learn more about, see how he develops, and I feel like there's a lot of interesting history between him and Osha that I can't wait to see more of. Even though he has a terrible line, I do like Soul's character a lot. I kind of like the stoic presence he brings. It kind of reminds me a lot of like a Qui-Gon type of figure. As I mentioned, I am a huge fan of May so far, but Osha's character is not doing it for me. In addition to her dialogue being weird, the character is just kind of dumb too. Like, in the second episode, there's a moment where she sneaks off and goes, and then she's the first to end up finding this dead body, and it's just such a stupid thing to do in the situation. We haven't seen a lot of Jackie yet so far, but she does seem like a very good character. It's this kind of Padawan, and she does come up with a very good plan again in the second episode. There hasn't been a ton of different fighting in the first 2 episodes so far, but the moments we have got are actually really well done, and the choreography is definitely better than things like the sequel trilogy and even the Ahsoka show we just got. I really appreciate this kind of focus on more like hand-to-hand and force combat so far. I know the lightsabers are coming and there's been a little bit of them in this, but I really appreciate this different and kind of unique style so far. It seems like everybody that's absolutely praising this show so far has talked about how the mystery is so incredible and intriguing in this, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really get that from the first 2 episodes. Like, yes, there is a mystery here, I'm just not that into it. And there's also kind of this like bigger looming mystery that's who is May's master, who's training her. I'm gonna be honest, A, I don't really care, and B, a lot of people are getting way too hyped up thinking it's gonna be some huge cameo from like Star Wars Legends or something. I've learned from these Star Wars TV shows, it literally is never the huge cameo people think it's going to be. It's either going to be a brand new character or one of the good Jedis we saw earlier in the first couple episodes. And it's like, oh, we thought you were a good guy, but you were actually training May all along. Oh no. The tone of the show is also just kind of all over the place. I feel like you can't pick between being like a more serious Andor or on the goofier side of Star Wars. Like, there's a moment with Yord where people walk in on him shirtless. It feels like a joke that you would see in a Disney Channel original movie 15 years ago. Like, I don't know what they thought they were doing with that, but it's just not the humor that you need in a type of show like this. There's a lot of whiplash with the tone of the show. Every time we're between Osha and May, it feels completely different. Like, everything with Osha is super just lighthearted and goofy kind of. Then when we're following May, it's supposed to be the super dark and serious show, and it can't pick one lane to be in so far. I know Star Wars has always been selling toys and action figures since the very start, but I feel like ever since Baby Yoda has gotten unbearable that now every new show or movie has something in it that's specifically designed to be like, oh, look at how cute that thing is, I need to buy a toy of it. And the real problem is that at what point do we just stop pumping out Star Wars content? Like, we've got this, we got the Skeleton Crew coming out later this year. Both shows really have no reason to exist, which I get is a cynical way to look at things, but I just don't care about what's happening in the story as of right now. It could really go either way. I could absolutely love it or hate it by the end. Right now, I'm firmly in the middle. It's a 5 out of 10 for the first 2 episodes.